Hi guys, firstly a quick apology. Sorry I haven't put any videos up for a while, but I've been really suffering with bad shoulders and I'm having ongoing treatment, so it is getting better. I can actually sleep now, so I'm a little less grumpy. But while I've been sitting around twiddling my thumbs doing nothing but the bare minimum, I decided to get the CAD program out and try and make myself one of these smithing magicians. I've seen one or two on the net and I thought I can make one of them. So I've had the CAD program out. I sent off the designs to the laser cutters and this is what I got back. I've had enough made to do about 4, but this is the side. That's basically the sort of design. Bar goes through there and you hit it from on top, usual thing. Another side. I don't quite know how many bits there are for each one. Now this is the top piece that goes on there, or will do eventually. And I decided to make it removable, put these holes in, because if you want to put a different die in with a bigger base to it, you can't get it down through the slot, but you can take the front off. That's the blank die. You can take the front off and slide one in. More blanks. Lots of bits and pieces. What we got here? Oh yeah, the base. Now I put a 30mm square hole in the bottom of this because that's about the size of my hardy hole, and I'm going to put a piece of bar in there, about 3 inches long perhaps, so it can drop into the hardy hole, but I'm going to make it removable so that if you don't want to use it, you can use the bolt holes. Or if you want to, you can even just put it on the bench and clamp it down. So there you go, that's the base. What else have we got in here? More little bits and pieces, all laser cut. So I'm going to have a look, see exactly how many bits there are for each one, and then we're going to start tacking one together and see how it goes, because this is a first for me. Right, I've got all the bits together and there's 10 in all. The only bit that didn't come from the laser cutters was this. That's just a bit of ordinary black 30mm bar that's going to go in there, so that can drop in the anvil. All these other bits, they got their place. I will try and put some plans on the net actually, so that you can see exactly where everything goes. There's bits for the back, 2 bits on the inside. Now, these should be the same width. They're the spacers for the bottom. Then this one goes on the front at the bottom. That's what holds the bottom jig, or bottom, what's it called? That thing. Bottom tool, I suppose. It's just a bit of bright bar, and that's going to go in there. That's your bottom tool. Obviously you can make up whatever tools you like, but that's where that one goes. And we've got, that's your top tool, again another bit bright, that's going to drop down through there eventually, with that bit on the front. So you can see how it's going to come together. So, first job, I'm going to centre this and drill it. I haven't got a 4-jaw chuck on my lathe, so I'm going to have to do it in the drill press. Right, I've centre dotted it just by cross cornering it. Just got it in my hand clamp. Bit of cutting paste always helps. I'm going to drill this out fairly deep because I've got some reasonable sized bolts kicking about, and so I don't have to cut the bolt down. Just going to drill the hole out deeper and tap it deeper. And the drill's going fairly slow for a small drill, but it's a pain to change the belts on this drill. You've got to undo clamps and move the motor in and blah blah blah. Either that or you've got a very fast or a very slow, because it is 2-speed, but one's too fast, one's too slow. So to get the best of both worlds, it's on a medium speed. That's my pilot. So now I'm just going to put in a 12mm tapping size. No idea what it is, I just put it through the nut, and a 12mm nut. Bit more jollop. It really does make a difference, that stuff. It really eases the drill. You can hear it and feel it when you're drilling with that paste. So much easier. And your tools stay sharper longer. Right, that's about it. Get it out of there. Get the muck out. And go over and tap it. Alright, we've just got it up in the vise. Got my tap. And I'm going to try and get it in straight. Now for these blind holes, would be better off with a spiral tap, because then the chip comes up to the flutes and out. But as I haven't got one, I'm just going to use an ordinary spiral point and go careful. It starts to tighten up with all the chips at the bottom. Before I get to where I want to be, just take the tap out, knock the chips out and start again. You just got to be aware and be a bit careful. I think that's probably deep enough. It hadn't got tight. This is bits that I was on about. I don't know if you can see that. A bit of focus. Yeah, just about. Nice little thread in there. Right, you can see what I've done here. I've put a score mark 25mm from the edge all the way around, because when I designed this, that's the gap to the edge I wanted, so it's uniform. So I'm going to use that as a guide for tacking all my bits up. Now I've had a think about this, and it's going to be pretty tricky to try and sort of clamp it all in place in one go, so I'm literally just going to hold these pieces by eye with the help of a good old square, not particularly accurate square but good enough for this job, and then just put a tack on it. Now I don't want to put it at the back or in that corner because there's a piece going in there, so I want to just bring it forward a bit. There we go, just a quick tack, nothing much, just enough to hold it in place. Check it's upright, yeah, it's good enough for me. It's got stuck to the bench. The next bit I'm going to put in is this back piece, which is why I said don't put the tack at the back. And that has been cut 1/2 mm wider than the tool that I'm going to use in it, the bar that's going to be used as a tool. Now I've left this set in a bit because I want to get a nice little fillet weld down the back there, so it's not supposed to look flush, so I can get a nice little fillet in there. Oh, the bloody gun's got jammed up, don't quite know why. Nip the end off, get it unjammed. Right, try again. So, where was I? get this back bit square. As I say, set in a little bit, so I get a little bit of a fillet weld down the back there. Again, another quick spot. That's got the two together. Get that little bit spot off. No, it's not coming, leave it, never mind. Right, now what? The front bit. Again, just hold it by eye, stick the square on it and tack it up. You can see my names over all these bits. I'm guessing that they have so much to do in the laser cutters, they stick your name on all of your bits so they get them all and they drop out the machine. Right, I've got the square on the other side this time, on the back, and again just put a little tack on the outside. It's got it there. Yeah, reasonably square. Good enough for me. Now there's a little bit of a gap there, so I'm just going to put a clamp on that. These are brilliant, these Bessie clamps. Absolutely marvellous. I use them all the time. There we go, it's just pulled that little gap up. So again, another spot. And what's up with that? It keeps playing up, keeps sticking. It's almost like I've got the burn back too short. Right, we've got them nice and square. So now we can stick the second side up. This is going to be slightly trickier, only in as much that I want to make sure it's all level with the other side. And to get it right, I'm going to put this is just a bit of the bright bar that I'm going to use for the tooling. I'll just cut off as a bit of a jig. I'm going to put that in, and like I said, that this was cut half a mil wider, so there is a bit of a lip there. So I'm going to bring it out a little bit so that we've got some play. And actually what I'm going to do, I've got some shim material somewhere, so if I can find it, there you go, hasn't been used for a while, get the dust off. There's all sorts of different sizes or thicknesses in here. I don't know where it came from, I've had it for donkey's years. One there is like paper, really thin. And the other one's a little bit thicker. One's like fag paper and one's like an ordinary bit of paper. So I'm going to stick that in, so that when I clamp it up, it's still nice and tight. But when I take it out, I'm going to have that little bit of clearance. In fact, I think I'm going to put both of them in. It's amazing how big half a mil is in reality. So I'm going to clamp them up. The best is on again. There you go, so that should be nice and square now, because that should be bring the width out to the same as the back. Can't get a tack on there, so I'm just going to change that round. That's it, it's flush now. So let's board it out that at half a mil. Quick tack on there. Now if we can get that out, because obviously it's tight, take the shims out, and look at that, lovely, nice bit of play. It's not too much, it's just enough. Just bearing in mind when this gets hot, or if there's bits of slag down there, it could get tight. I've just got to clamp that back up and try and get a tack on the back one. I wish I hadn't taken the shim out now before I did that, so I'll try and get it back in, but of course it never goes back in as easy as it came out, but that'll do. Then I'm just going to get a tack there on the back. Looks about the same as the other one. Oh, it's got jammed again. What is the matter with this thing? I don't know what it is. I haven't got the burn back too short or anything because I've not changed it. Maybe I just want to whip my wire speed up a little bit. Anyway, right, get a tack in there. Done. Right, so what's next? Let's see, let's get rid of that for a minute. That's out of the way. Right, I think I'm going to put this bit in here up the top. You see already that's a little bit tight, even though it's all cut the same size. And I'll tell you, the laser cutters are pretty accurate getting everything the same size. For this sort of job, they're accurate enough. Anyway, find a hammer, I can tap that in. It won't need a lot. That's it, in just to spring it in. Alright, that's going in the back there. And again, I'm going to leave it down from the outside edge there, so I can get again a nice little fillet in there down both sides. So I'm going to try and get it the same both sides, get it central. That looks pretty good, not bad at all. So check all around it, make sure it's all looking square. Most of it's done by eye, this. It's not rocket science. So I'm just going to put a tack on there. I'm just going to knock it down a bit because it's a little bit unsquare. That's better. Much better. Yeah, looks square over this side now. So we'll just get a tack in there. Tack at the top. Eye up again just to check that the other side looks about the same. It does, so we'll have a couple more tacks in there. Oh, it's stuck again, there we go. One there, one up the top. Done. Right, so we're getting there. What's going to be next? I don't quite know what to put in next, because I've got to get inside there to weld one at the back, so in actual fact I might have been better off doing that before I put the top piece in, but I think I'll still get to it. It might be a bit tricky, but we'll soon see. Because this is the bit that's got to go in there, because that's going to be the back of the tooling. And again, this bit was cut that much wider, but it's just a little bit tight. So what I'm going to do is, instead of hammer this one in, I'm just going to take a little bit off the edge, I think. Just, it won't be, no, it's not going to go. So I think I'm just going to have a little bit off the edge here. I've got a flap disc on here, so it's not like it's really grinding loads off. Just going to take, almost just taking the scale off. You get quite a bit of scale on the edge where the laser's been. It's almost just a case of literally just take that off. That should drop in fairly nicely. Yeah, look at that, push fit, lovely. the tooling piece back in and put the shim in behind it. Actually, I think I'm going to have to cut that down because it's a little bit wide for some reason. Whip that down. Oh, a bit stuck in the snips now. Get out of it. That's it. Whip that down. Stick that in the back or front, whichever place is easiest. And then we're just going to tap that up nice and tight. Want it to be tight top and bottom. It's just got to go down a bit. So I'll have to knock that down. Look at that, that's a lovely fit. That's probably what they call an interference fit. Pucker. Now I've got to get in there. Get a couple of tacks in the bottom. It's quite close to the hole in the bottom actually for the hardy bit, but can't really see. But so I've got to be careful where I put my tacks, so I don't interfere with the hole. We'll just have one each side if we can. Just hold it all in place. Right, let's see if we can get this out. No, that ain't coming out. Right, get a clamp. Yeah, get a clamp on it, I think. Try and pull that out. But anyway, that bit's going to go in the top. And again, this was cut at 1/2 mil, and if you see, you've got to be careful because it's almost the same size one way as it is the other. I think it's about 60 by 60.5. So you've got to make sure you get this bit the right way around. One way it's a little nice sort of interference fit, and the other way it's a little bit loose. So you want it the interference fit way round. And that's your front tool, or your top tool, sorry. Give it clean off. And that's how it's going to sit. And this is 60 by 12. I think it's EN32 or something or other. Bog standard stuff. Now then, this is going to go on there and eventually it'll be bolted. But for the time being, I'm going to tack it before I put the bolts in. Just so that, tack down each side, just so that I can get it tacked up and drill the holes. It's going to be much easier to pilot the holes. I'm just going to take the burr off the back there. It's not sitting flush. You might need to drill these holes out when it comes from the laser cutters. They're quite small holes and you might get a little bit of a burr in there. So I just run a drill through just to clean them out. Right, again, get it up nice and flush. I do a lot of feeling on jobs like this. I don't know if it's something to do with shoeing horses, but my fingers are quite sensitive, so you can feel if something's flush or not quite easily. I'm just going to clamp this one up. It's amazing how much a weld will actually pull, and that feels pretty good, top and side. That's it, that's all you need. That will just hold it in place now. Now we've got to get this back one pushed in tight. But you can see it's coming together. I'm just going to get this up nice so that they meet nicely. There's nothing worse than meeting out of place. So I'm just going to try and wedge this back piece in nice and tight. all meet up nicely. Again, do it all by eye. Of course, I've forgotten to put the shim in, haven't I? So just wedge it down in there now. And just push that bit back in, nice and tight. Force it against it. I think that's pretty good. I think I should be able to get some decent welds in there. But for now I'm just going to tack it at the top here. Oh, stuck again. I'll have to have a look at this. Oh, what's up with it? Let's see if I can increase the burn back if it's going to keep doing that. Or decrease it. Alright, spot in there. Spot on the other side. Looks pretty good. And a spot on the other side at the top, at the bottom as it were. Both sides, just to hold it in place. I think we're nearly there. Tacking wise, we'll get that one out. Got the shim out. Lovely. Oh yeah, this one still won't come out, will it? Get the grips on it. Get that out. There we go. Got my shim out. Actually, that piece is a bit too big to come out there. Right, so we're just about there. So what I'm going to do, instead of boring you to death, I'm going to weld this up and then come back and whip it along there, up the sides, everywhere. Not there. I'm going to leave that. We're going to drill the holes and see how we get on. So as I say, I won't bore you, I'll go and do that, then I'll come back once it's all welded up. Because it ain't interesting watching me weld. And the next job after that will be drilling the holes. Right, it ain't pretty, but it's welded up and it's still blooming hot. Very hot indeed. So we've tacked it or welded it everywhere that I can get to, except the front sides. Some nice fillets down the back there. So it just needs a bit of cleaning up. There you go, it's all welded as much as it needs to be. So I'm going to let it cool down and then drill these front holes once it's cool. And we can take the welds off and bolt it up. Alright, it's cooled down. I've given it a quick clean up, literally just taking the spits and spots off and run a flat disc over the not a flat disc, a wire brush in fact, over the welds. And as I say, they're not pretty, but they're functional. It ain't going nowhere. That'll do it. So we're now going to drill these holes. So I'm going to leave the welds on, pilot or spot the sides, the holes with the 7mm drill. Because it's a 7mm hole, this one, 7mm drill, which is what the hole is I've put in there. Literally just spot it on all the holes. That'll give me my centre. That's that, I've centred nicely. Now I'm going to put my 6mm tapping size in. You can see how much easier it is with a tacker weld on there. If you had to try and hold that there, it wouldn't be that easy. Again, this is reasonably deep holes. Same sort of reason as before. I think I might get a bit of jollop on there actually. The drill's getting a bit warm. Go and get cut and paste. Right, there we go. A bit of quick little dab on the drill. Can always just drop it in the hole, that'll be just as easy. And the next one. Actually, this is getting boring. So we'll skip to the last one. Right. Done. Right, I've whipped the front off, just literally by grinding the welds off, stuck it in the vise, got my 6mm tap, try and get it straight, and again could have done with spiral float, but I've only got spiral point, so I just have to go careful, back it off every other turn or half a turn just to break the chip off. With the spiral floats you don't need to do that, you just wind away and the lovely spiral chips come out the top. Marvellous machine taps. But these will do. I don't do an awful lot of tapping, so I just make do with what I've got. That'll do. It's about the depth of the thread. Try and get the other one in fairly straight. Cool, I'm going bald. Yeah, straight enough. That's what a bit of clearance in the front holes will take up. If it's not entirely straight. I suppose I could have put my tapping head up in the drill press, and put this in the vise, but I can't be arsed just for 3-4 holes. If I was doing 400 maybe. Again, it's getting boring. Everyone knows I'm tapping a hole. Right, done. I've got these, I can't really see them, socket headed 6mm bolts, which I'm going to use, only because I've got them. Don't have to use them, use whatever you like, ordinary hex head. But I like the look of a socket head on a bit of fabrication. Somehow looks pucker, but no real difference. They're all HT these days, these and ordinary hex heads. So we'll whip these up. We're almost there. That one's a bit tight for some reason. I think it might be a bit of a dodgy thread on the bolt rather than the thread in the hole, because these are old bolts that have just been kicking about. I keep a big box of old bolts, sort through them. Anyway, there you go. So that should now drop in. No, it's a bit tight. And actually, I just remembered why. It's got a few burrs on it. It got stuck in there, and I pulled it out, and it's got a couple of burrs on the corners. So I'm just going to find a file and whip them off. I pulled it out with the clamp, and it just bird up the edges a little bit. That's better, look at that. Absolutely perfect. And my bottom piece drops in, your top piece drops in, and look at that, lovely. Just enough play so that when it gets hot it's still going to slide nicely. And that's about it. The only thing we've got to do is put the bit in the bottom for the hardy, but I've got to make a washer to go in here so it doesn't just come straight through. I'm going to put a washer in, bolt it up, and then weld around the washer. So that really is the last bit to do, so I'm going to go away and do that. Right, it's just a bit of flat bar with a hole in it. It's just the right size to go in. As I say, it's a bit tight in there. This is 12mm bolt, and that washer just about fits in between all the welds. It's a bit fiddly to get in. It may have been an idea to have put the washer in early on, before all the top was welded up or even tacked up. But as I said earlier, I've never done one of these before. This is the first one off the blocks, so it's a bit of a learning curve for me as well. But it's not impossible. It's just a little bit fiddly. 19mm socket. Tighten it up. Of course this is going to take forever. You can hardly move it, and the bolt's about 1 inch long. So this is going to go on and on and on. So I'm just going to have a quick slurp of my beer. That's better. Nearly there. Well, I thought I was nearly there. Yeah, there we go. Just about it. Alright, that's nice and tight now. But as you'll see, that's still loose. That's because all it's done is pulled the washer up tight on top of the bit of bar at the bottom, the 30mm, which you can't actually see however hard I try, but trust me, that's what it is. So now I've just got to pull it down flush and weld around it. So I'm going to go and do that, and then we're just about done. There we go, all welded up, ready to go. That's about the best size for my hardy hole. It's a little bit small, you've got a bit of play there, but that won't matter. Now these tools, as I say, they were just a bit of 60x12 bright bar. I think it's EN32, so it's dead easy to get hold of, and you can make whatever tools you like out of it. Stick it in either way. Now these I'll probably leave as flat tools, although you can round them at the bottom. You can do all sorts with them. You can put other bits on, bigger bits, which is why we want the removable front. You can put grooves in them. You can make it into a half round. You can make it into a cutter edge. It's limited to your own imagination. So I suppose the next job is to make a video of me actually using it, see if it's going to be any good. So I might give it a coat of paint, because I probably won't use it very often. It'll get stuck on the floor and go rusty if I don't. I'm going to round the top off as well a little bit, and I might even put a couple up on eBay for sale if I get round to knocking the others up, but we'll see. I'll certainly probably put the plans up for sale if anyone's interested. But if I do that, I'll probably put a link to where the plans are going to be, probably on eBay. But anyway, there you go. Thanks for watching this one, and again, sorry if I haven't put up any lately, but hopefully I shall put up a few more fairly soon once my shoulders are better.